So hey guys, this is your favorite the fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see, what if Naruto awakens new bloodline and chakra of Harry Potter? But before we start, remember to subscribe and like this video. Now let's start. It was the 1st of June. Hogwarts has just ended and Harry Potter has finished his 3rd year. He has learned a lot this past school year. For one, his godfather, Sirius Black, escaped from the wizarding prison known as Azkaban. It turned out that he was framed for the betrayal of Harry's parents. After rescuing him, Sirius told Harry not to trust Dumbledore and to go to the goblins at the bank the first chance he gets. So here Harry is entering the bank at Diagon Alley. It was really easy too. While still on the magical side of the barrier, Harry put on his invisibility cloak and used the flow network to travel to the leaky cauldron. Once there, he walked to the bank while still wearing the cloak. Upon entering the bank, he took the cloak off and placed it inside his robe where his shrunken trunk was. He was grateful that Hermione remembered that spell and that he asked her to cast it. Remembering why he was there, he walked up to an open teller. When he was spotted by the goblin, Harry whispered, "I would like to see the Potter account manager. I was sent here by my godfather, Sirius Black. I should meet with the account manager for the Potter accounts about something important." The goblin looked at Harry for a moment before motioning him to follow. After following the goblin down a short hallway, they came to a door. The door was made from pure marble and had a silver nameplate that said, Silver Fang. Knocking on the door, the first goblin opened it and took his leave. When Harry entered the office, he saw a goblin sitting at a desk that was made from mahogany. The goblin looked up and gave a smile that on a goblin looked extremely creepy. "Mr. Potter, it's about time I got a visit from you. I should have seen you a few years ago when you turned 11, but Albus Dumbledore prevented it. No matter, you are here now and that's all that matters. First things first, no matter what goes on here today, do not tell Dumbledore. He is manipulative and wants the Potter fortune for himself to fund some group of his. Whatever you do, don't trust him," said Silver Fang. "I have a friend named Ron Weasley. Are they trustworthy?" asked Harry. "The Weasleys, of course you can trust them. They were friends with your parents. In fact, your parents opened up a little trust fund for them, with the condition to take care of you should something happen. But Dumbledore prevented them access to it. If you would like, I can reopen it for them," said the goblin. "Yes please. They have been nothing but nice to me since I met them," said Harry with some relief. He did not know what he would do if the Weasleys were using him for his money. "Now then, I have a piece of parchment here. What I want you to do is place a small drop of blood on it. Doing so will tell us if you have any family left and what abilities you may have," said Silverfang as he passed a piece of parchment toward Harry. After placing the required blood on the parchment, it glowed blue for a second. When the glow faded, Harry looked at the parchment and read, "Name, Harry James Potter. Father, James Charles Uchiha P. Otter, deceased. Mother, Lillian Rose Uzumaki Evans Potter, deceased. Aunts, Petunia Evans Dursley, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, deceased. Makoto Uchiha, deceased. Uncles, Vernon Dursley, Minato Namikaze, deceased. Fugaku Uchiha, deceased. Cousins, Dudley Dursley, Naruto Uzumaki, Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha. Abilities: Magical Core, 75% blocked. Chakra Network, 100% blocked. Rare Bloodline, 100% blocked. Metamorphagus, 90% blocked. Animagus, 100% blocked. Blocks were placed by Albus Dumbledore. After looking at the parchment, Harry groaned, seeing that he was still related to the Dursleys. Then he realized that there was blocks placed on him by his headmaster. "Hey Silver Fang, is there any way to remove the blocks that were placed on me?" he asked. "Why yes there is. In fact, when you're done here, I was planning on having you see our medics about that anyways. But first, how do you like living with your aunt and uncle?" said the goblin. "I hate it. I wish I could leave, but I have to stay with my mother's blood relative," said Harry. When the goblin heard that, he gave a grin even creepier than before. "Well, in that case, I have an idea. I know where your cousin, Naruto, lives. He is about a year younger than you. So he will be turning 13 in October while you will turn 14 at the end of July. I can have a curse breaker move the blood wards from your aunt to your cousin. That way, as long as you can call Naruto's home yours as well, Dumbledore won't know the difference, said Silver Fang. Let's do it. Is there a way for Naruto to join me at Hogwarts when school starts back up? Yes, there is. When you return to get your supplies for the new school year, bring him with you. I think he has a block on his magic, but we will double check. If there is, we can remove it. If not, we can give him a magical core, but it won't be cheap. Also, you should know something about your cousin. Where he is from, there are 9 demons made entirely of chakra. Before you ask, chakra to them is kinda like magic for you wizards. Once we get the blocks on you removed, you will learn how to harness it as well. Anyway, of these 9 demons, the strongest of them, the 9-tailed fox, attacked Naruto's home village the day he was born. Your uncle, Minato, gave his life to seal the demon into his own son. Ever since that day, most of the village has hated him and seen him for the demon instead. F the person who was keeping it contained, said the goblin as he looked at Harry for his reaction. That's horrible, treating a child that way for something he has no control over. And I thought my relatives were bad. Well, no more. Let's get these blocks removed. After that, I want you to send me to Naruto's village. He has family coming to stay, whether he wants them or not, said Harry. With that, the goblin nodded and told Harry to follow him. About 5 minuets later, they came to a chamber that had a diamond slab in the middle. On the floor around the slab were runes that looked even older than the building itself. Okay, what we need you to do is strip down to your underwear and lay on the slab. Keep your arms as tight against your side as possible. This will only take about 10 minuets and should not hurt at all, explained the goblin medic that came up to them. About 20 minuets later, they were back in the office again. The process took a little longer than normal because of Harry's scar. It turned out the scar was a Horcrux for the Dark Lord who murdered his parents. When the goblins found out, they were pissed. Needless to say that Harry's scar was healed and the Horcrux was destroyed. They also issued a search of the entire bank for any more that might be there. The first thing Harry noticed after the ritual was that his hair fell to his shoulders. He then noticed he no longer needed glasses. Then, after remembering what the parchment said, Harry sent out some magic through his body to try and discover his bloodline. He decided to use magic since it was fully unlocked, and he had yet to learn how to use chakra. When he sent out the pulse of magic, he felt his eyes tingle a little bit. Deciding to channel magic there, he opened his eyes and looked at Silver Fang. When he goblin looked at Harry, he gasped and said, "Harry, do you know what your bloodline is?" When Harry shook his head no, Silver Fang continued. "It is the rarest of all dojutsu in the elemental nations, which is where I will send you in a few minuets, but first let me explain the dojutsu. There are 3 of them that are known. The first is the Byakugan. It is held by the Hyuga clan and is capable of seeing through objects, seeing in 360 degrees, and seeing the chakra network of a person. The second is the Sharingan. It is held by the Uchiha clan, and before you ask, know your father did several abilities. The most known ability is that it can copy any technique of someone instantly. And finally there is the Rinnegan. That one is more elusive. I know it can control gravity and allow the user to use all elements easily, but other than that I don't know what it can do. And then there is yours. It is called the Shotogan. I'm not sure what all it can do, but I do know 2 of its abilities. The first is that it acts like a normal Sharingan. The reason is probably due to your Uchiha blood. The second is that it can control and even create shadows, hence the name. Now if there is nothing else, I will take you to your vault for some money, and then I will send you to the village your cousin lives. When you arrive, ask to see the Hokage. Once at the Hokage's office, mention my name and you will be fine." With that, Silver Fang led Harry to his vault where he took out 2,000 galleons. After that he was led to an open space where he was given a steering wheel of all things. As soon as he touched it, he felt like he was being pulled by his navel as he disappeared in a flash of blue light. When the experience of traveling by portkey wore off, Harry found himself on a road that led to a giant open gate. Seeing nowhere else to go, he headed in that direction. When he approached the gate, he was stopped by a couple of people wearing green flak jackets. "Halt, who are you and what is your business here?" "My name is Harry Potter and I need to speak with your Hokage." "Very well, but you need to be escorted there." We don't want any trouble. With that an Anbu Black Ops wearin' GA cat mask came up to Harry and grabbed his shoulder. Just before they disappeared, Harry caught a look at his eyes in a mirror behind the gate guards. They were solid black, with 3 red coma lick marks in a circle in the center of his eyes. After a brief travel by leaves they appeared in front of a secretary that was in front of a door. In front of the door was also a group of 4 people. Oh, Nay was wearing a Kill Me Now orange jumpsuit and had blonde hair. The second was wearing a blue high-collar shirt, white shorts and had a duck butt hairstyle. The third person was wearing a red battle dress with black bike shorts. On the dress were white circles. She also had pink hair. The fourth and final person was obviously older. He had silver hair that was spiked to one side, and a half mask covering his mouth and nose. Like the other 3, Harry saw a strange headband, but this guy's was covering his left eye. His clothes were similar to what the gate guards were wearing but were a shade darker in color. After seeing that a group of ninja were here as well, the Anbu leaned in and whispered, "Just follow this group inside and be quiet. When the Hokage is done with them he will see you. This is where I take my leave." With that said, the Anbu disappeared the same way. As soon as the group of 5 entered the office there was a flash of green fire from the fireplace. When the fire lared there was a man standing there who had long dark hair. He looked a bit healthier than the last time Harry saw him and for some reason was wearing a Santa outfit. When Naruto saw the man he shouted excitedly, "Oh my god, it's Santa. He really does exist. I knew it." When Harry uncovered his ears from that outburst he said, "No, that's just my godfather, Sirius Black." "Sirius, why are you wearing that?" "Well, to be honest, me and Mooney were having a little get-together at his place. We made a bet and I lost, so I had to wear this ridiculous outfit for 2 full days. And now that the time is up I'm gonna ditch it," he answered. With that he took off the outfit revealing jeans and a t-shirt. After that the Hokage listened to the report from Kakashi. When the report was done he dismissed everyone but Harry, Naruto, and Sirius. "Now let's get down to business. First off, Naruto, this is your cousin Harry. He will be living with you from now on. Second, Sirius, if you have no problems with it I want you to adopt both Harry and Naruto. We will make you a ninja of this village so that when you're returned to your world you will have immunity from the ministry. I understand that you have just recently unblocked your chakra and memories of the last time you were here." At Sirius' nod he continued, "Very well. In that case with your skills you will be made a Jonin. Your team will be Harry, Naruto, and Shikamaru." It was at this time that Naruto said, "Hey Harry, what is with your eyes? They look strange. I have never seen anything like it before. But they kinda remind me of Sasuke's and Kakashi Sensei's Sharingan." As soon as Naruto said that, both the Hokage and Sirius turned and looked at Harry more closely. "Ah yes, it is called the Shotogan. A goblin friend of mine told me about it just before you arrived. He told me to give this scroll to you for you to study. It contains everything the Shotogan can do," said the Hokage as he passed Harry a scroll. "Harry, do you think you can turn it off for now? It is a little creepy," asked Sirius. Without giving an answer Harry allowed his eyes to return to their normal green. "Okay then, moving on. Naruto, I want you to help Harry with learning and using chakra. If Harry can learn how to use it within the next 2 weeks I will allow your new team to enter the Chunin exams. For now I want you to go with Sirius and find a place for you 3 to live. I will inform Asuma about the team changes later. For now you are dismissed," said the Hokage. With that the 3 left the Hokage's office. As they were walking out of the office Harry turned to Naruto and asked, "Hey Naruto, so what's it like living in the village? Do you like it here?" "Well, at first the whole village hated me for something I never knew about. During those days I hated living here. Then I went to the Ninja Academy and became a ninja. Ever since then I had a dream to become the best Hokage ever. That way the villagers will stop hating me and start treating me with respect," he said. I see. So the way you act is all just to get attention other than hatred. And I am guessing the orange jumpsuit is because that's all the shops will sell you," said Harry. When Naruto heard that he stopped in his tracks with a wary look on his face. How did you know that?" "Because I was in a similar situation a few years ago. You see, my parents were Murdered by an evil man when I was a year old. Since then I have lived with my aunt and uncle. My relatives hated me and treated me like a slave. If I did something they did not like, such as getting good grades in school, they would lock me in a cupboard under the stairs for 3 days. Without food. I also had to wear my cousin Dudley's old clothes. Then a few years ago I met a man who changed my life. His name was Hagrid and he told me I was a wizard, and I then went to a school for magic and made some friends for the first time in my life. So I understand what it's like to be alone. But know this. Before I came here I was told all about you. So I know you have a demon inside you. However, I don't have a problem with it. One of my parents' friends is a werewolf and they called it his furry little problem. So the way I see it, you also have one, explained Harry. When Naruto heard that Harry knew about the fox, he suddenly got scared that Harry would hate him like everyone else. Then, when he heard that Harry did not care, he jumped on him and gave him a hug. When he did, he noticed that Harry flinched for a second before he returned it as well. Harry then said, "Okay, first things first. We are getting you a new outfit. Then you will drop your attention getting mask and be yourself. I know you are smarter and a lot more dangerous than you appear. Then show us the way to your apartment. Sirius can enlarge it on the inside and it won't change on the outside. That is if he has a wand." Turning to Sirius at the end. "Yes, when I had the goblins restore my chakra and memories of when your dad brought us here, they gave me a new one," he answered. With that they went shopping before going to Naruto's apartment. Naruto's new outfit was a pair of black Anbu pants, and a sleeveless blue shirt. He left his arms bare but wore blue fingerless gloves with a metal plate on the back of the hand. He decided to keep his forehead protector in the normal spot. Harry also got a new outfit. He wore white Anbu pants, blue ninja sandals, and an emerald green sleeveless shirt. He also decided to get a couple tattoos on his arms but did not get gloves. On his left forearm was a picture of a lily flower, and on his right shoulder was a stag. When asked by Naruto about the tattoos, he was told it was as a reminder to Harry's parents. When they entered Naruto's apartment, Sirius took out his wand and cast a spell. When the spell was finished, the whole place was much bigger. It now had 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. After everyone claimed a room and put their stuff away, they decided to go to bed before starting training tomorrow. The next day, just after breakfast, there was a knock at the door. When Naruto went to go answer it, he grinned before opening the door. "Hey there, Shikamaru. Come on in, we just finished breakfast. I take it the Hokage told you about the new team placements?" He said, "Yes, as troublesome as it is, he did. I was told to come over as soon as possible. I was told that there was someone on the team who could also manipulate shadows and that I need to help them with it," said Shikamaru. With that, Naruto led Shikamaru into the kitchen where everyone else was. After Harry was introduced to Shikamaru, they went outside to a training area so Harry could learn to use his chakra. He also took the scroll he got from the Hokage and looked through it. He found a couple of jutsu that he would have to try. The first was called Shadow Flicker. Basically what it did was allow the person to travel a great distance. It was similar to the leaf travel the Anbu did, but with shadows instead of leaves. For the remaining 2 weeks Harry worked hard on mastering chakra usage and Shadow Flicker. He decided he would learn the other jutsus another time. It was finally the day of the Chunin exams. Harry was really excited about it. Not only did he just become a genin yesterday, and had no experience with missions of any kind, he was being offered the opportunity to take these exams and become a Chunin. But first he had to go to a meeting with his sensei, who also happened to be his godfather, Sirius Black. When he showed up at their training ground, Sirius said, "Hey, listen Harry, I talked to the Hokage. He said that now that you are a ninja of the Leaf Village, you are allowed to use magic outside of school. We are located under a Fidelius charm. The location of the elemental nations are only known to the goblins. Because of that, being a ninja of any of the villages gives you diplomatic immunity. So feel free to use any and all spells in this exam. In fact, you could even get away with the unforgivables, but only if you use them here. If you try to use them outside the elemental nations, you will be deported and never allowed to return to England. So, go to the Chunin exams and remember what I said." With that, Sirius disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Once Sirius was gone, Harry had a thought. Any spell I want to use, huh? I read about the Unforgivables. They sound dangerous, but I think I could pull them off. After all, the Sorting Hat wanted me to be placed in Slytherin for a reason. With that thought in mind, Harry left in a swirl of shadows. Meanwhile, Naruto and Shikamaru were walking together towards the academy for the exams. I wonder where Harry is. He left before I did this morning, so I hope he shows up in time. Don't worry about Harry, he is fine. He will be here right about now, said Shikamaru as Harry shadowed in. How did you know that? Asked Naruto after he got over his shock of Harry appearing when Shikamaru said he would. If it contains shadows, nothing can sneak up on me. Which can be a drag. Sometimes. He answered. With that, the team of 3 entered the academy. When they approached the 2nd floor, Harry realized there was a genjutsu on it. Stating it was the 3rd floor. Whispering to the others, he said, "There is a genjutsu on this floor. Come with me. We will sneak by and let the other people take care of themselves." Knowing that Harry had a good idea, Naruto and Shikamaru followed him to the 3rd floor. Upon entering the classroom, Harry saw the most beautiful sight he ever saw. Standing in a corner next to Choji and Ino was a red-headed female with the most beautiful green eyes he ever saw. "Hey Naruto, who is that girl? She is standing next to Choji and Ino," he asked. Looking around, Naruto spotted her and said, "Oh, her. I wouldn't waste your time with her. Her name is Reina Hoshigaki. She is the daughter of ex-swordsman of the mist and missing Nin Kisame Hoshigaki. She is an excellent swordsman herself and has the bloodline limit or Kekkei Genkei of water. She is able to control and even create water out of nothing," said Naruto. While Naruto was explaining who the girl was, Team 7 finally arrived and was talking to a silver-haired boy named Kabuto. After he gave Sasuke some info about a kid named Gaara and another kid who he fought earlier named Rock Lee, he was attacked by a sound ninja. "That's for insulting us earlier. Never underestimate a ninja," said the leader. It was at this time that a puff of smoke appeared in front of the room. When the smoke cleared, there stood a tall figure wearing a trench coat, boots, and a bandana around his head. On his face were a couple of scars. "All right maggots, listen up. First off, there will be no fighting unless it is approved by a proctor of the exams. Anyone who disagrees with this rule can leave right now." When nobody moved, he continued. "Very well. My name is Ibiki Morino and I am the proctor for the first exams. Now what I want you to do is follow me outside. I got something good planned for you." With that said, Ibiki led the Chunin hopefuls outside. Once they were all outside, Ibiki said, "Listen up. The first test is about to begin. Your objective is to collect a special scroll that is hidden throughout the village. There is only 52 teams here. However, there are only 26 scrolls, so half of you will be eliminated. One more thing, only 1 scroll is allowed per team. Once you have your scroll, report back here. Any questions?" "Yay, I got one. What do theses scrolls look like?" asked Kiba Inuzuka. "A good question. They are very easy to spot. They look like an average jutsu scroll, but the bands on them are gold. They also say either heaven or earth on them. Now if there is no more questions, you have until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. to find one scroll or the other and report back here. Fail to return here with a scroll by the given time and you and your team fail. Ready, begin." With that ice missile, all 52 teams spread out through the village in search of a scroll. Harry and his team decided to meet in their training ground. Once they were all there, they started to plan. "Listen guys, I talked to our sensei before the exams started. He said that I was allowed to use magic in this exam. I think we could find the scroll a hell of a lot faster that way," said Harry. "Great, do what you need to do. But I got one question, can you teach me to use magic?" asked Naruto. "I am not qualified to do so. However, when I go back to school in September you can join me and learn some then." "Shikamaru, you can come as well if you want." "What a drag. I don't think I have what it takes to join you as a student, but I will come as protection for the school. Our sensei will probably come as well anyway." With that settled, Harry pulled out his wand. "Point me, Earth Scroll." The wand then started to spin on Harry's palm. After it was spinning for a couple seconds, it stopped. "OKTH. Follow me and we should find the scroll easily. With that the group took off once again. What they did not know though was that they were being watched. Just behind the trees in the training ground was a bubble of water. Once Harry and his team left, the bubble burst. On the other side of the Leaf Village in her own training ground, Reina opened direction of an Earth Scroll. But if we want it we better hurry. Harry, Naruto, and Shikamaru are already after it. However, I know a shortcut that will get us there faster. With that, Reina grabbed her teammates and disappeared in a swirl of water. Meanwhile, Harry and his team were closing in on the scroll when all of a sudden Harry stopped. "Hey Harry, what's up?" asked Naruto. "We got company up ahead. They are also after this scroll. And we are not allowed to fight in this test. I have an idea. Naruto, I want you to create 3 shadow clones and have 2 transform into us. Then have them continue toward the Earth Scroll." Once that was done, Harry pulled out his wand again. "Point me, Heaven Scroll." With a new destination in mind, the team took off. As the real Harry and team were heading toward the Heaven Scroll, the shadow clone versions ran into Reina and her team. "It looks like we won this time. Sucks for you," said Reina. With that said, Naruto smirked before all 3 disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Shadow clones. Not bad, Naruto, not bad at all. I will have you for a boyfriend yet. And with that she and her team disappeared in another swirl of water. Meanwhile, back with the real Harry, they were finally within sight of the scroll. Unfortunately for them, it was located in the nose of the second Hokage of the monument. "Akio, Heaven Scroll," tried Harry. When that failed, Harry said, "Screw this, I will be right back." With that he vanished in a swirl of shadows. 2 seconds later he was back with the scroll. "Now who wants to shadow flicker back to the academy to check in?" When both of them agreed, Harry grabbed their shoulders and vanished again. As soon as Harry and his team appeared, Ibiki said, "Nice job team, you were the second ones to return. Now hold on to that scroll and report to Training Ground 44 tomorrow at 9 am. Until then, dismissed. Ground 44. After a few minuets, the second proctor showed up and introduced herself. Her name was Anko Mitarashi. According to her, the teams had sign a waiver before entering the forest. Once in the forest, they had 5 days to locate and collect the opposite scroll than what they had in their possession. Once they had a copy of both scrolls, they were to report at the tower in the middle of the forest. After 5 days, whoever did not arrive at the tower with both scrolls failed. With that being said, the teams were authorized to enter the forest. As soon as Harry and his team entered the forest, they made their way to a clearing. Once there, Harry once again took out his trusty wand and located an Earth Scroll. Once he got the location, he had his team follow him. As they were coming up on the scroll, Harry sensed something. "Hey guys, let's stop for a minute. I sense a fight going on over there and one of the participants is stronger than a genin. Much stronger." With that they followed Harry over to where the fight was. Deciding to stay hidden in the trees, they arrived just in time to see Orochimaru give a curse mark to Sasuke Uchiha. "Damn, this is not good. He is also my cousin. I need to come up with a way to prevent him from going to the snake bastard. It's bad enough I got Voldemort to deal with every year, I don't need this on top of it. Oh well, not much I can do right now." Turning to the others he said, "There is not much we can do right this minute, let's continue heading for the scroll." A few hours later, EY found the scroll being guarded by grass ninjas. After defeating them pretty easily, they took the scroll and made their way to the tower. Once at the tower, they opened the scrolls and discovered that they were summoning scrolls. To their surprise, it was Sirius, who appeared from the scrolls. After congratulating them on passing this portion of the exam, he explained a poem that was behind him. When that was done, he told them to find a room and get comfortable until the 5 days were up. Harry was going to speak with Sasuke before the next part of the exam, but he and his team did not show up until the last minute. Shrugging his shoulders and deciding to speak to him at the first opportunity, he lined up with everyone else and paid attention to the Hokage. It turned out that there were still too many people left, and that they were going to do a preliminary fight before holding the final event in 1 month's time. As the first 2 fighters were called to the arena, Harry and the others moved to the balconies. As it turned out, Sasuke was the first one up. His opponent was some ninja who had the ability to absorb chakra by placing his hands on them. It was over pretty quick with Sasuke winning the match. As Sasuke was coming back to his teammates, Kakashi came up to him and led him away. It was at this time that Harry decided to try a new ability he learned over the last few days. It was a variant of Naruto's shadow clone jutsu but worked a little bit differently. Whereas Naruto could create multiple clones, Harry could only create one at a time. Harry's, however, was stronger than Naruto's and was perfect for what he needed done. Briefly activating his Shadogan, his shadow flared around him for a second before fading away. The only people who noticed was Naruto and Shikamaru. When they looked at him, Harry just whispered, "I'll tell you later." With that, they shrugged their shoulders and turned back to the matches. Meanwhile, on the other side of the tower, Kakashi and Sasuke were in a room trying to get the curse mark sealed. Orochimaru has already left after talking to them. All of a sudden, before Kakashi could do anything, there was a flash of black shadow in the corner. Kakashi momentarily tensed before he saw Harry step out of the shadows. Relaxing a bit, he said, "Hello Harry, what can I do for you?" Looking up at Kakashi, Harry spoke, "I am not the real Harry, I am a clone. However, I do need to speak with Sasuke for a minute, preferably alone." Nodding his head to show he understood, Kakashi went into the hallway to give them space. It was at this point that Sasuke noticed the clone's eyes. The eyes of the clone had the Shadogan activated, showing that the clone was in use. "What is it you wanted to speak to me about?" he asked the clone carefully. Sasuke has seen how strong the real Harry was, and if the clone was even half as strong, he did not want to fight. "I am going to be honest with you, Sasuke. My original self knows about you, and how you want to kill your brother. He even knows that your brother killed your family, however your brother missed. You and the original are cousins through your fathers. Just like he and Naruto are cousins through their mothers. He has a proposition for you. He gave me permission to completely remove your curse mark. In exchange, you have to swear that you will not go to Orochimaru. In fact, he asked me to tell you that you can join him in September. At that time he will be going to a school that teaches magic. He said to tell you that you will be able to learn it as well, and then you can use it against your brother. And that he will help if you want him to." As Sasuke was taking all that in, he looked at the clone in awe. "Really? He would do that for me? But why?" he asked. "Simple. You are family. He has not had a lot of family that cared for him. When he found out that your family was killed by your own brother, he was livid. When he found he had family that could actually care for him, he vowed to protect and help them whenever he could," the clone explained. "Very well. I will accept the offer. What do you need me to do?" "Nothing actually. Just stand there and don't move. I am going to use magic to remove the curse mark. It will take all my power to do. Once the spell is complete, I will dissolve. I am using the original's wand because it can't be cloned. When I dissolve, the wand will fall to the ground. When it does, I want you to pick it up and bring it back to the original. He will be fighting in about 20 minutes. If we time this right, you will give it back to him just in time for his fight." Nodding to show that he understood, Sasuke waited patiently for the Harry clone to remove the CTHE clone of Harry waved his wand in a complicated manner while chanting in a dead language. Nothing happened for 15 minutes, when all of a sudden the curse mark on Sasuke's neck glowed with a blue light. When the light vanished, the Harry clone dispersed in a black cloud of smoke. As the wand fell to the floor, Kakashi came back in to tell the clone that his time was up. When Kakashi entered, he noticed that the clone was nowhere to be seen. When he turned to Sasuke to ask about it, Kakashi saw that the curse mark was gone. What happened to the curse mark?" "It's gone," he exclaimed. "Yes, I know. Harry's clone used magic to remove it. He also offered me a place with him at his school in September, which I fully accepted. I also learned he is my cousin through my father. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to give my cousin back his wand," replied Sasuke. With th. Sasuke picked up the wand from the floor, and headed back to the room where the matches were located. When he arrived, he saw that most of the matches were over. There was just 2 fights left, Rai's match, which was just about to start, and the match of Choji vs. Dosu, who was a sound ninja. Spotting Harry, who had been called to the center, heading for the stairs, Sasuke ran up to him. After placing the wand in Harry's ninja pouch, he said, "Good luck out there." With that said, Sasuke went to the balcony while Harry went to the arena floor. Once Harry arrived, he took out his wand and stood in a defensive stance. His opponent was Sai, who was a fellow Leaf Ninja and who replaced Naruto on Team 7. As soon as the announcer began the fight, the two ninjas started their attacks. To Harry's surprise, Sai took out paper and ink and started to draw. Not wanting to know what he had planned, he cast two spells in quick succession. Expelliarmus, Stupefy. When the first spell hit, all he paper and ink Sai had went flying in different directions. As soon as the second hit, Sai went flying into the opposite wall, where he fell unconscious. The winner is Harry Potter. Next and final match is Choji Akamichi vs. Dosu Kinuta. Please make your way to the arena floor. As the next two people headed to the floor, Harry walked over to Sai, who was being placed on a stretcher by medics. "There is no need for that. I just need to cast the counter curse and he will be fine," said Harry as he did so. Once Sai was back to normal, Harry flashed to the balcony with his team. After Dosu won the fight against Choji, everyone was called back to the center of the floor. Once there, they all drew a numbered ball to decide who would fight who in 1 month's time. Harry was scheduled to fight last against Reina Hoshigaki. Once the fights were revealed, the group was dismissed to train for the coming fights in a month's time. As soon as they were dismissed, Harry flashed his team to their training grounds. "Okay, here is the thing. I am going to go through the scroll I got about my Shotogen. I think there is a way to unlock the next level to gain the main abilities of it, and I want to see if I can do so before the finals. Naruto, I have some books I want you to read. They are the books for the first 3 years at Hogwarts. I doubt you will be able to do any of the spells without a wand, but if you can, more power to you. Shikamaru, you can do whatever you need to do for the finals. I will see you two at the finals in 1 month's time." With that said, Harry flashed away to grab his scroll. Once he had the scroll, he went to find his godfather to tell him where he was going. When Harry found him, Sirius said, "Hey pup, what's up? I am going to a secluded spot to train for the finals. I will be gone until then. And I just wanted to let you know. I lent Naruto my books for the first 3 years of Hogwarts, and Shikamaru is gonna do whatever it is he does," replied Harry. "Well, in that case, I'm coming with you. I am sure you could use both a dueling and sparring partner, and if you want I can teach you how to become an animagus. You never know, it may come in handy," said Sirius. "Very well then, let's go. I got a spot picked out already. It's on top of the Hokage monument." With that, Harry grabbed Sirius' shoulder and flashed to the spot he picked out for training. As soon as Harry and Sirius appeared on the monument, Sirius said, "So Harry, where up here do you plan on staying while you train this month?" "I packed a tent from the ninja supply compound. I was planning on making it larger on the inside if you would be willing to help me with that." "I would be glad to." With that, the two wizards set up the tent, then Sirius enlarged it. Once the tent was set up, Harry pulled out his Shotogen scroll. Unrolling it on the ground, he started to look over it. He was looking to see if there was a way to unlock the next level. After spending almost 5 minutes looking through the jutsus available through the dojutsu, he finally found what he was looking for. Near the end of the scroll in bold letters were the following words: "Most of the jutsus in this scroll require a level 2 Shotogen." Those jutsu are marked with a star next to the name. In order to unlock the second level, you will need to overload the level 1 with a combination of magic and chakra. Yes, you read that right. Unless you are a wizard and a ninja, you cannot get a level 2 Shotogen. Also, before you overload the Shotogen, you will need to make a potion and drink it. The potion will allow your eyes to absorb the amount of chakra and magic required for the change to level 2. The instructions for the potion are listed below. If done correctly, it will take 1 week to make. Looking below the bold-faced words, Harry found the potion mentioned. As it turned out, it was not that complicated. Showing it to Sirius, Harry asked, "Can we start making this potion now?" Sirius looked at the instructions and said, "Yay, I have a potion I want to make anyway. As it is the potion I wanted to make has most of these ingredients. The potion you want to make just uses one more that my potion does not. And it takes the same amount of time to make. What did you want to make? Asked Harry. I need to make the animagus revealing potion. That way I can help you with the transformation, explained Sirius. With that said, the two got to work on the potion. During the week that the two potions were brewing, Harry and Sirius worked on both dueling skills and taijutsu skills. Harry also read Hero and memorized all the jutsu on his Shotogen scroll. He wanted to make sure that when his level 2 was unlocked he could perform them. According to the scroll, the Shadow Flicker and his variant of the Shadow Clone was all he could do with the level 1. Well, he could control shadows that existed with a level 1 to an extent, but when he read that a level 2 could create shadows he decided to wait till he had the second level. The scroll also mentioned that the second level was the highest level of it there was. Meanwhile, while Harry was training with Sirius, Naruto was walking around town reading one of Harry's books. The book he was currently reading was the third-year Transfiguration book. It seemed pretty easy from what he could tell. According to what he read, it was very similar to the transformation jutsu. Deciding to see how similar, he stopped for a moment and looked around. Spotting a rock on the path, he waved his hand at it. To his immense surprise, the rock transformed into a small dog. He figured it was a transformation jutsu the rock underwent due to the smoke that appeared. Waving his hand again, there was more smoke before the rock returned to normal. Deciding to figure this out some more, Naruto continued walking when he heard a perverted giggle. Looking around, he spotted an old man with long white hair standing on a toad. The man was peeking into the girl's bathhouse. Stepping up to him, Naruto whispered, "You know you should not peek at women. It's rude. Give me one good reason why I should not let them know you're here." The man turned to Naruto and looked at him. When he did, he was reminded of his old student. So this is Minato's son. Looks lieutenant out for me if he is going to be trained by me. I'll tell you what, if you don't rat me out to these women, I will teach you a jutsu that you will enjoy, said the man. Who are, and what jutsu? Asked Naruto. My name is Jiraiya of the Sannin. Meet me at Raining Ground 7 in an hour and I will show you. As soon as he said that, Jiraiya disappeared in a cloud of smoke. A week later, back with Harry on the monument. Both potions were finally completed. Harry decided to take the Shotogen potion first and raise it to the next level. That way he could practice new jutsu while also learning to transform into his animagus form. After downing the potion, Harry followed the directions on the scroll, concentrating both magic and chakra to his eyes with the intent to overload the Shotogen. About 5 minutes of concentrating later, Harry felt like his eyes were burning. A second later it stopped. When he opened his eyes, Sirius saw them and gasped. After conjuring a mirror, Harry saw his new eyes. The entire eye was still black. However, the design in the center had changed dramatically. When Harry saw it, he laughed out loud. What's so funny? Asked Sirius. Back in England, my cousin Dudley had this game called Legend of Zelda. I was never allowed to play it, but I watched him play it a couple of times. Anyway, the reason I am laughing is because the design of my new eyes is in the shape of the Triforce from that game, although the Triforce did not have an X in the center triangle and was solid gold. Not red and hollow, replied Harry. As soon as he finished the explanation, Harry noticed the scroll had glowed blue for a second. Looking at it, he saw a note at the bottom that was not there before. It read, "You have now unlocked the second and final level of the Shotogen. As you have no doubt figured out by reading this scroll, the Shotogen is very powerful. At the second level it is in fact on par with the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. All jutsus requiring the Shotogen is now much easier for you. The Shotogen also has all powers of the Mangekyo Sharingan but without the effect of blindness. So feel free to use any and all powers of it without worry." When he finished reading, Harry smirked. He had read up on the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan and knew what the Mangekyo was capable of. But first he deactivated it and drank the next potion. As soon as he did, he passed out. He woke up a second later in what looked like a foggy forest. Knowing this was meant to happen, Harry just stood there and waited for his animal to come to him. He was very surprised when not one, but two animals came up to him. The first was an owl that looked very similar to Hedwig. On closer inspection he found it was Hedwig. The second was a tan lion with a black mane and emerald green eyes. He knew the lion was his form, but he had no idea why Hedwig was here. As if to answer his unasked question, Hedwig held out her talon for Harry to take the scroll that was there. After he took it, both animals vanished into the fog and Harry woke up. It was at this time that he noticed the scroll he still held in his hand. Opening it up, he saw that it was an owl summoning contract. Signing his name in blood, Harry immediately ran through the hand signs and summoned an owl. The owl that appeared looked very familiar. As soon as Harry saw it, he exclaimed, "Hedwig, I missed you, girl. What happened? I haven't seen you since the end of the year." What happened next shocked Harry to the core. Hedwig spoke in English as clear as day. Her voice sounded like an angel was speaking. "Hello, Harry. It is good to see you again. When you left Hogwarts for the summer, I was commanded to return to the summoning realm. As you have no doubt noticed, I am a summoning owl. Since I have been your familiar for 3 years now, the boss owl has allowed me to give you the owl summoning contract. With it you can summon any owl you choose. Through the contract I will be available at any time. I myself can be used to take messages, but that's about it. If you want to travel, you can summon a bigger owl to fly on. Also, the boss is about as big as the Toad boss and carries a pair of nunchucks. So if you ever need to fight some giant thing, you can summon him." "Okay, then I will do that. I don't have any messages right now. But if you want, you can stay here and visit for a while," responded Harry. Hedwig gave a nod of approval and flew to a nearby rock to rest. After that, Harry told Sirius about his animagus form and they got back to training. Time skip. Chunin exam finals. It was finally the day of the Chunin exam finals, and everyone was excited. Naruto had learned how to summon toads and also knew how to perform a few transfigurations without a wand and silently. However, they always created a puff of smoke, as if he was casting the transformation jutsu on the objects. He had not yet told Harry why, because he wanted to keep it as a surprise. Harry himself also learned a lot during the last month. He had mastered the animagus transformation to the point that Sirius had his at. He also learned a lot of jutsu for his Shotogen, but was still not quite where he wanted to be with it. He had mastered most of the jutsu from the scroll, and the ones that weren't mastered were at least doable. The things he had yet to learn anything about was the Mangekyo Sharingan part. He found some scrolls for the jutsu of it but never had the time to learn. He figured he would work on those after the exams. Maybe while he was at school for his 4th year. Everyone was ready for the exams to start. Even Sasuke, who trained with Kakashi, managed to arrive on time. When it was time, Naruto and Neji entered the field, while everyone else went to the viewing area. It was a pretty good fight, but in the end Naruto won by using shadow clones and popping out of the ground with an uppercut to Neji's jaw. Then came the next match of Sasuke and Gaara. It started out well until Gaara used some kind of jutsu to encase himself in a dome of sand. At that time a genjutsu was placed of the entire arena and an explosion was heard from the cage box. When Harry looked in that direction, he saw a purple barrier surround the Hokage and Orochimaru. Thinking quickly, Harry's shadow flickered right next to the Hokage. When he got there, he said, "Hello, looks like you could use a hand against this snake freak." "Yes, thank you, Harry. With your help I am sure we can defeat him," said the Hokage. "Coo, do you really think so? We shall see about that. For now, why don't I bring in some reinforcements?" With that, Orochimaru went through some hand signs before slamming his hands on the ground. When he did, coffins started to rise, each of which bore a number. When the Hokage saw this, he paled and said, "Harry, we have to stop the 3rd coffin from rising." What Harry said next shocked the Hokage and confused Orochimaru. "No, let Orochimaru summon all of them. I have a plan, and if all goes well, the yellow flash of the leaf will return and Orochimaru will die." During this time all 3 coffins had fully emerged and opened, revealing the 1st, 2nd and 4th Hokages. Orochimaru smirked and was about to place the tags on their heads to gain control when something stopped him. For some reason he found that he could not move an inch. It was then that he saw a stick in the boy's hand. And it was pointed right at him. Smirking, Harry said, "I think that is far enough. I cast a spell on you to prevent you from moving. Now what to do with the others?" "Oh, I know." With a wave of his wand, the 1st and 2nd Hokages dissolved into a puddle, revealing the dead sound ninjas that disappeared after the 2nd part of the exams. Harry then turned back to the 4th Hokage and spoke. As for you, you have a son that needs you. Also you are my uncle and I would like to get to know you. Waving his wand at Gain the fourth Hokage blinked and then spoke. Hiruzen. What happened? Where am I? The last thing I remember was sealing the fox into Naruto. It was Harry who answered. Hello uncle. My name is Harry Potter. I am the son of your wife's sister Lily. You were current during an invasion of the Chunin exams. You have been dead for 12 years. However, thanks to Orochimaru you are back. He was planning to use you against the leaf, but I used a spell to stop him. I then used another to make your current body permanent, and if I remember correctly the jutsu used kept your memories and abilities from when you were killed. And that is the gist of what is going on. I would suggest we wrap this up soon though. Once we deal with Orochimaru we got an invasion to stop and then I will introduce you to your son. Very well. Since he tried to use me against the leaf, I feel it is only fitting that I have the honor of killing him, said Minato. I don't have a problem with that, said Harry and Hiruzen at the same time. Minato then walked up to the still frozen Orochimaru and asked, So Harry, what spell did you use on him anyway? It's called Petrificus Totalis. It's a full body bind so he isn't going anywhere, was the reply. Once Minato was in front of Orochimaru he held out his right hand. In the center of his palm a blue sphere of chakra appeared. Unknown to the others, Harry activated his Dogen which was now permanently at level 2. Doing so allowed him to copy the technique that Minato was using. Once it was formed Minato said, Rasengan, and jabbed it into Orochimaru's gut. As soon as it hit, Orochimaru was flung into his own barrier where he burst into flames and died. With their leader gone, the Sound Four who holding the barrier, ran off in separate directions. Letting them go Hiruzen spoke up. Okay, let's get to the village and see what we can do to help. Once this is over, I want to see you, Harry as well as your team and sensei in my office. Minato, I want you there as well. But stay hidden until we give the signal. Yes Lord Hokage. The two replied before splitting up to help with the invasion. 2 days had passed since the invasion of the Sound and Sand. Harry Poe, TTER and his team were standing in the Hokage's office with their sensei Sirius Black and Jiraiya of the Sannin. I have called you in here for 3 reasons. 1. Congratulations, all 3 of you have been promoted to the rank of Chunin. 2. Naruto, there is someone here who would like to meet you. As soon as that was said a blonde-haired man stepped out of the shadows. When the people in the room turned to look at him, everyone but Harry and the Hokage went wide-eyed. It was Jiraiya who spoke first. Minato, is it really you? Minato smiled at his old sensei and said, Yay, it's really me. It's good to see you again sensei. As the two hugged in reunion, Minato looked around and spotted Sirius. Sirius, you old dog. How have ya been? It's been a while since I last saw you, he said as he hugged him as well. Naruto then got his voice back. You're the 4th Hokage. You're my idol, but I thought you were killed. Minato then noticed Naruto for the first time. Naruto, I am sorry for what I did. I hope you can forgive me someday. Quote, Naruto was confused for a minute before he asked, What are you sorry for? To his surprise Minato hugged Naruto and said, I doubt anyone ever told you this, but I am your father. On the day you were born the 9-tailed fox attacked the village. Since I was the Hokage it was my job to protect the village. The 9-tailed fox is a being of pure chakra, which means that it could not be killed. Instead it had to be sealed inside a newborn child. Knowing that I could not ask someone to do something I, myself would not do, I sealed the fox into you. My son, I am sorry for this burden and I hope someday you can forgive me. To Minato's surprise Naruto hugged him back and said the one thing that made this whole ordeal worth it. It's okay Dad, I forgive you. I know you were trying to protect the village. At first I was hated by the villagers because of the fox. But then I became a ninja and met Harry. Ever since then I wasn't alone anymore. Before any more could be said, Hiruzen cleared his throat. Sorry to interrupt your reunion, but I have one more announcement. I am retiring from being the Hokage once more. This invasion just showed me that I am too old for this job. Minato, I would like you to consider taking the job once more. Sorry Hiruzen, but I would like to spend some time with my son. I could use shadow clones for the paperwork, but I would rather not, he responded. Just then Hiruzen smacked his head on the desk repeatedly while saying, "Stupid, stupid, stupid." When he was done, Hiruzen sat up and said, "Sorry about that, I just realized I could have been using shadow clones this whole time. Anyway, since you won't take your spot back as Hokage, I have a mission for all of you. I want you to track down Tsunade Senju and bring her back. She is going to be my replacement as Hokage." "Lord Hokage, just who do you mean by all of you?" asked Harry. "Just that. Jiraiya, you will lead Harry, Naruto, and Shikamaru on this mission to find her. Sirius, I want you to accompany them for added protection. Minato, I know you will just follow them anyway so you can go too. But I want you to start training your son in that jutsu," responded the Hokage. "Very well. Team meet at the North Gate at 7 am tomorrow. We will leave then, until then dismissed," said Jiraiya as he jumped out of the window. "What a drag. Being a Chunin is already troublesome. I'm going to go pack for the mission. See y'all later," said Shikamaru as he walked out the door. Turning to Naruto, Minato said, "So Naruto, what do you say to some ramen before we get ready for the mission?" At the thought of ramen, Naruto jumped into the air and cheered. As he and his father walked out of the office, Sirius turned to Harry. "Oh Harry, I almost forgot. I got some tickets to the Quidditch World Cup. It's in a month's time. In the meantime, let's go catch up to the others." Naruto and his father were walking to the ramen stand when he asked, "Hey Dad, how are you here anyway?" "Oh, during the invasion, Orochimaru used a jutsu to summon me. Then your cousin Harry cast a spell to make the animation permanent. That way I could be with you," he replied. "Oh okay then, do you have a problem with magic?" Naruto asked next. "Not at all. I used to be friends with your current sensei and his friends." "Why do you ask?" "I was just wondering because Harry I invited me to go to Hogwarts with him in a couple of months," said Naruto. "Oh, well that was nice of him. I take it you plan on going?" asked Minato. "Yay. During the month before the final portion of the exam, Harry let me read some of his books. I even managed to perform the transfiguration without a wand or speaking," explained Naruto. Before Minato could say anything, Harry showed up and said, "Really? Do you mind if I see it?" In response, Naruto waved his hand at a nearby rock that they passed. In a poof of smoke, the rock changed into a puppy, causing Harry to stare at it for a moment. After getting over his shock, Harry said, "Interesting. I have never seen a transfiguration done like that before. If I had to guess, I'd say it did that because you are used to using your chakra and have not had much training in magic." Naruto nodded, having already thought that himself. Turning to Harry, he asked, "Are you going to join us for ramen?" "Sure. I got nothing else planned," he said. With that, Naruto, Minato, and Harry went to have some ramen. The next morning at 7 am, the entire group met at the North Gate. Harry wore his usual outfit that he had been wearing since he took Naruto shopping. In addition to that, he has 2 scrolls with him. The first scroll was the scroll on his Shadogan, while the other contained the info on the Mangekyo Sharingan jutsus. Once everyone was ready, Jiraiya said, "All right team, let's move out. The sooner we find Tsunade, the sooner we can get home." As the group was leaving, none of them noticed the pair of figures watching them from the distance. "What do we do now? The target is too protected to move in at this time," said the taller of the two. The shorter one said, "Patience Kisame. We know where they are going, and will follow them from a distance. They cannot protect if 2 adults are away, we will strike." "I hope you are right about this, Itachi. That one kid with the tattoos is not someone to take lightly," answered Kisame. That the 2 figures disappeared in a poof of smoke. Back with the group, Minato said, "Okay Naruto, it is time for you to learn the first of my original jutsu, the Rasengan. Here is a demonstration." With that, Minato formed the Rasengan and pushed it into a nearby tree. When Harry saw the attack, he said, "Oh, you mean like this?" as he proceeded to do the exact same thing as Minato did before. There was a slight difference though. Unlike Minato's Rasengan, Harry's was green in color and not blue. Other than that, it did the exact same thing. When Minato saw that, he asked, "How did you do that?" In response, Harry activated his Shadogan and said, "This is called a Shadogan. It works similar to the Sharingan but also has some abilities that the Sharingan does not. Mainly it can create and control shadows. However, unlike the Sharingan, the Shotogan is able to copy chakra control and manipulation. But it is only able to do so once, so I saved it until I saw you use the Rasengan against Orochimaru. Now that I copied that attack, everything else I copy will require hand signs. I hope you're not mad at me. No, I just did not expect it is all. Although I have to warn you. That attack is dangerous and not to be taken lightly. Only use it if you need to. That goes for you as well, Naruto, said Minato. Both of them nodded to show they understood. After that, Minato handed Naruto a W-8 balloon and explained the first part. A few hours later, the group made a stop at a nearby post station. It was here that they decided to get a hotel for the night while Jiraiya and Minato went to get some info on the location of Tsunade. Sirius, who had been using Harry's invisibility cloak to throw off any pursuers, decided to join the kids at the hotel. Once they were settled in a room, RRY opened up the Mangekyo Sharingan scroll and started to read. While he did that, Naruto practiced with the first step of the Rasengan and Shikamaru played chess with Sirius. A few minutes later there was a knock on the door. Naruto was about to answer it when Harry stopped him. Don't open the door. Something is not right. Sirius, hand Naruto the cloak and you get in the closet. Shikamaru stand in front of Naruto while I answer the door. Once everyone was in position, Harry answered the door and said, Yes, can I help you? We are here for Naruto Uzumaki. Hand him over and you won't get hurt, said the shorter of the two figures. It was at this time that Harry recognized the two figures. As soon as he did, Harry raised his wand and quickly cast two spells. The first spell sent both figures into the far wall, while the second petrified both of them so they could not move. He then activated his Shotogan and looked Itachi in the eye. When eye contact was established he said, Tell me, why should I let you live? You killed your entire family, while I was abused and neglected by my aunt and uncle. Well, actually you missed on killing your family. I am your cousin on our father's side. When I heard you killed your family I was livid, so tell me why should I let you live? And so Itachi told Harry everything. How the Uchiha clan was planning to overthrow the Hokage. How when the Hokage learned of it, he ordered Itachi to kill only the guilty party of the clan. How he met a man named Madara Uchiha who killed everyone else at the same time. How after that he joined the group known as Akatsuki. And even what the group's plan was. When the explanation was over Harry said, I see, I will let you live for now, but I will not hand Naruto over to you. He is also my cousin through our mothers. And I will protect him with my life. However, the next time I see you, you better pray Sasuke is not with me. Because if he is you will not live. Now be gone. With that Harry waved Hi's hand and the two Akatsuki members disappeared in a swirl of shadows. Once they were gone Shikamaru said, How did you send them away like that? And more importantly, where did you send them? Harry just smirked and said, That my friend was a variation of my shadow flicker. It requires a level 2 Shotogan and when used, allows me to send others to various locations through the shadows. I can use this variation to take people with me when I travel. As for where they went, I just sent them to their most used resting spot. Before any more could be said Jiraiya and Minato walked in through the door. We got a location of Tsunade. She is in a town 1 week's travel from here. For now let's get some rest, tomorrow we will continue the trip, said Minato. The next morning the group continued on its way. But this time Sirius decided to remain in the open. Harry was walking next to him and said, I should have asked this earlier, but how do you know everyone here? Sirius sighed and said, There really isn't much to tell. After me and your parents graduated from Hogwarts your dad was approached by Gringotts about something important. It turned out that he was related to the Uchiha clan here in the Leaf Village. Your mother and me came for support and it turned out your mother was also from the elemental nations as well. The goblins offered to send your parents to the elemental Ions to meet their family and they agreed. Me, being your father's best friend, offered to accompany him. He agreed and all three of us came here. We spent a few months in the Leaf Village and during that time all three of us learned how to use chakra and gained the rank of Jonin. After the 4th month here your mother got pregnant with you and decided to head home while she could still travel. We all planned on returning and bringing the other 2 marauders with us, but you know how that turned out. I see. That's good to know, although I think we should bring Remus here with us when we return next summer after 4th year. Said Harry. I agree. He would have come with me this time but he said he had something important to do but would not tell me what, replied Sirius. With that they fell silent and continued their journey. A week later they arrived in the town Tsunade was located. During that time Naruto managed to learn the Rasengan and Harry learned the Amaterasu Mangekyo Sharingan ability. He still had a ways to go to learn the other 3 abilities though. The group approached the tavern where Tsunade was located and found her easily. As they sat down Tsunade noticed Minato and gasped. You're supposed to be dead. What's going on? Minato chuckled and said, you can thank Orochimaru and my nephew here on my being alive. However we aren't here to catch up on old times. The 3rd Hokage has ordered us to find you and return you to the village to take over as the 5th Hokage. Also there are some injuries that need to be looked at that only you can handle. No way. I will not return for a fool's dream. Injuries. What kind of injuries? Asked Harry and Tsunade at the same time. Bushy Brows was injured in his fight with Gaara. Harry, don't you remember? You were there at the time, said Naruto. Not really. I didn't really pay much attention to the preliminary fights. Remember when I flared my shadow after Sasuke fought? Responded Harry while Minato and the adults tried to convince Tsunade to return. When the nodded he continued. At that time I created a variant to the shadow clone. Unlike the one you know Naruto, my version only makes one and requires my Kekkei Genkei. When I create one it will have the Shadogan activated and is much stronger than a basic shadow clone. The only way to destroy my version is to land a lethal blow. It uses too much energy, Chakra. Or I dispel it manually. Anyway, once I created it I sent it to Sasuke's location and talked to him about the curse mark he received from Orochimaru. I made a deal with Sasuke that if I got rid of it, he had to promise not to seek out Orochimaru for power. Also in exchange he could come with us to Hogwarts in September. While my clone was dealing with Sasuke, I had my eyes see. Lost to the eyes of my clone during the fights, explained Harry. Wait, I'm confused. Why would you help Sasuke that much? You barely know him, said Shikamaru. That's easy. He is also my cousin. My father was his father's brother from what I discovered this summer. So what type of injury did Rock Lee sustain? Asked Harry. Towards the end of his match with Gaara, his left arm and leg was crushed. At this point if Tsunade doesn't return it's likely he will have to give up being a shinobi, said Naruto. Harry thought for a moment before saying, we don't need Tsunade to heal Rock Lee. Between me and Sirius here, Rock Lee will be up and running again by the time we leave for England for the Quidditch World Cup. Sirius thought about how that was possible before he smirked and said, I agree. Let's head back to the village and report this mission as a failure. Once there we can get things going to help our young friend. Harry nodded and he and Sirius stood and started to leave the tavern when Tsunade spoke up. And just what can you do to help this person that nobody else can? Except perhaps me of course. Harry smirked and said, you'll just have to come back with us and see. I'll even make you a deal. You look at him first and make your own diagnosis. Then me and Sirius will implement our plan. If our plan fully heals him in 1 week's time, you become Hokage. If not, I will step down as a shinobi and become a civilian. Tsunade thought for a moment before holding her hand out and saying, you got yourself a deal. Harry shook on it before walking out with Sirius on the way back to the village. Once they were out of earshot Sirius whispered, are you sure about the 1 week time frame? I know how much being a shinobi means to you. I'm positive. When I was in 2nd year I had to use it. I was fully healed in 3 days. During that time I asked Madame Pomfrey about the potion uses and time frames. She told me that arms are 3 days, legs are 4 days, and other parts vary depending on the injury. She also said that it did not matter if it was part of the arm or the whole arm, the time frame was the same, explained Harry. A little over a week later the group returned to the village with Tsunade and her assistant Shizune in tow. After checking in with the 3rd Hokage, Harry's shadow flickered back to the apartment he shared with Naruto and Sirius. Once there he took out a piece of parchment and a quill and penned a quick letter. Master Silver Fang, I am writing to you to request a batch of Skele-Grow potion. The sooner I get some the better. You see, one of my fellow Leaf Shinobi was vastly injured during a fight recently and could use some if he ever wants to continue his career. I am sending this letter with my personal summons Hedwig. She will stay until you can send the potion. Thank you in advance, Harry James Potter. After checking over the letter, Harry bit his thumb to draw blood before running through some hand signs. He then slammed his hand on the floor and said, summoning jutsu. In a poof of smoke, Hedwig appeared in the room. Hello girl, I got a letter for you to take to Master Silverfang at Gringotts. It is a request for some Skele-Grow. Please stay until he sends some, it is very important, said Harry. Hedwig nodded and took the letter before disappearing in the same puff of smoke as before. With nothing left to do but wait, Harry headed to the ramen stand where he knew Naruto would be. Sure enough, he found the blonde just entering the stand and sitting down. Sitting next to him, Harry ordered his own food and talked to Naruto about nothing in particular. As the two were exiting the establishment, Sasuke Uchiha approached the two. He ignored Naruto and said, Hey Harry, am I still invited to Hogwarts with you? Yes. As a matter of fact, I was about to look for you to ask you something, but you seem to have found me first. In a little over a week's time, me, Naruto, and a few others are returning to England to attend a sports event. We will probably stay in England until school starts back up in September. Would you like to come with us at that time? If not, I can arrange for transportation to England 3 days before the 1st of September. Said Harry. Who all is coming to England at that time? Asked Sasuke. Me, Naruto, Shikamaru, Sirius Black, and Minato Namikaze so far, said Harry. Very well, I will join you as well. It will give me a chance to explore the world a bit, said Sasuke before he left. Once he was gone, the two continued to walk around the village before they were stopped again. This time by someone they did not expect. Hello Naruto, I just wanted to ask you a question. Are you seeing anyone? Standing in front of them was Reina Hoshigaki. Naruto stared at her for a moment before saying, No, why do you ask? Oh, no reason, other than, will you be my boyfriend? What about your father? Asked Naruto. At this Reina got pissed and said, Don't you dare mention that asshole's name in my presence. He abandoned not only me but also the Mist Village to join that damn group. Shortly after he left, I transferred to the Leaf Village in order to put my past behind me. Not to mention I know all about you, including what's inside you, and I promise that if you agree to be my boyfriend, I will protect you from that group and my father with my life. At the end of the explanation, Naruto said, If that's how you feel, then yes, I will be your boyfriend. However, I plan to join my cousin Harry at his school in September. So it may be a while before I will see you. Reina nodded and said, I understand. We will make it work. How about we spend the day together tomorrow to get to know each other? Naruto agreed and Reina left while he and Harry continued on their way. This ime they made it home with no problems, where they found Sirius and Minato. After visiting for a little while, they all went to bed to get a good rest. The next morning, Harry awoke to see Hedwig perched on a nearby chair. Sitting on the table was a small box. Smiling, Harry got up and showered before getting dressed for the day. After eating a quick breakfast, he took the package and went to find Tsunade. After talking with the third Hokage, who was still in office until the bet was concluded, Harry discovered that Tsunade was in the hospital attending to patients. Using Shadow Flicker, Harry arrived in front of the hospital before entering the building. A short search later and he found Tsunade sitting at a desk in an office. Entering the office, he said, Hello Tsunade, I am here to settle the bet we made about a week ago. Tsunade sighed and said, Very well, let's go see Rock Lee. A short walk later they entered the room where Rock Lee was resting. His arm and leg were still in a cast and he seemed to not be in much pain. Before they could do anything, Rock Lee's sensei Might Guy entered the room. Ah, Lady Tsunade, I assume you are here to heal Lee. Tsunade shook her head and said, Actually no, I'm just here to perform a diagnosis. With that she walked up to Lee and placed her hands over his arm and leg. As she was doing this, her hands were coated in green chakra. A moment. Later the glow of Chakra stopped and she said. His left arm is crushed below the elbow and his left leg is crushed below the knee. As it is, there are a few small slivers of bone embedded in the muscle tissue of the infected areas. At this point in time there is little I can do. Even if I operate, there is a 50-50 chance of survival. Even if you do survive, the chances of him continuing his shinobi career are even less. Luckily there is a second option. One I am willing to stake my career as a medical shinobi on. Harry, I leave the floor to you. Harry took this time to step forward and spoke. As you may know, I am not from this village originally. What you may not know is that I don't come from the elemental nations at all. I was born and lived in a country called England. There I go to a school called Hogwarts, which teaches magic. That makes me a wizard, and come September 1st me, Naruto, and Sasuke Uchiha are going to Hogwarts to learn magic. Now the reason because I have a way to heal Rock Lee to where he is as good as new. When I am done he will be able to continue his career with no problems. However, the treatment is painful and you will be awake the entire time. The last he said while looking at Rock Lee. With determination in his eyes, Rock Lee said, I don't care how painful it is. If you can heal me, then do. I will do whatever it takes to prove myself as a shinobi. Harry nodded and pulled out his wand and approached Rock Lee. Guy then spoke up before Harry could do anything. Just one question. You spoke as if you have experience in this situation. Can you explain why that is? Harry nodded and said, in my second year at Hogwarts I was injured during a game called Quidditch. One of the balls used in the game broke my arm, but before I could go see the healer, the defense against the dark arts teacher at the time stepped in to help. His name was Gilderoy Lockhart and he was a complete fraud. Anyway, instead of healing my broken arm he vanished the bones in it. I spent 3 days in the hospital wing taking a disgusting potion to grow them back. So you plan on vanishing the crushed bones in my arm and leg, and then regrowing them from scratch? Asked Rock Lee. Yes, that is the plan. During my time there I learned all I needed to know about this particular potion. Also during my 3rd year I spent some extra time in the hospital wing learning basic healing spells. I'm no professional, but the school healer did qualify me to perform basic healing to myself and those I think need it if we can't get to her. Normally what we plan would require me to get Madame Pomfrey. However, because I have experience with this situation she qualified me for it, said Harry. When Tsunade heard the name she gasped. Did you say Madame Pomfrey, as in Poppy Pomfrey? Asked Tsunade. Harry nodded and said, yes. Do you know her? Know her? My boy, she is a legend on par with myself. When I was younger and just starting my medical shinobi career I explored the world outside the elemental nations. During my travels I came across Pomfrey and we hit it off like 2 peas in a pod. I told her my dream of being a medical shinobi and she told me that she had just graduated from healers school at a place called Street Mungo's. After a few months I came back and started my campaign to become the greatest medical shinobi in history. Over time I heard she became the greatest healer in the wizarding world. Then one day she just dropped off the face of the earth. If she works at your school and you got basic training with her, then you have my full support on this. Not only that, I declare that you win this bet and I will become the 5th Hokage. One more thing. When you finish your schooling at Hogwarts, come and see me. I will make sure that you become the best damn medic short of myself this nation has ever seen. That is if you're interested in it, said Tsunade. Harry nodded and said, I am very interested in it. During my time at Hogwarts, I plan on learning what I can from Madame Pomfrey. She said that come September she will start teaching me more advanced healing spells and by my 7th year I will have learned all she can teach me. With that he stood next to Lee with his wand held in his right hand. Pointing it at Lee's left arm he said, Osseo Dispersimus. The arm glowed blue for a moment before falling limp. Next Harry repeated the process with Lee's left leg. The end result was that Lee's arm and leg were rubbery and bended easily just below the elbow and knee respectively. Harry then opened the package and saw a familiar bottle that he hoped not to see again. Next to it was a note. Mr. Potter, I hope for your sake what Silver Fang told me was the truth and that this is not for yourself. If it is for yourself, then you will be going back to basics until 6th year. I would like the full story upon our first meeting in the new year. Until then, have a pleasant summer. Madame Pomfrey. Harry smiled and thought, well, isn't she being nice? Setting the note aside, he opened the bottle and measured a cup and a half of the potion. He then handed it to Lee and said, just a warning, this tastes like monkey piss mixed with the blood of caterpillar sitting in the hot sun for 3 days. Heading the warning rock, Lee quickly gulped the potion down. Once he did, he coughed and said, that is indeed the foulest thing I have ever had to drink. But if it helps me continue my career as a shinobi, I will gladly drink more. Well, luckily for you, you will only need that 1 dose. Now all you can do is wait for 1 week while your bones mend themselves. I will warn you, the next week will be extremely painful for you, said Harry. Rock Lee nodded and yawned before laying down and trying to go to sleep. As he and the 2 adults exited the room, Guy asked, how do you know what monkey piss and caterpillar blood sitting in the hot sun for 3 days tastes like? To which Harry said, I don't, but remember, I do know what that potion tastes like, and it is foul tasting. So I came up with a disgusting analogy to compare it to. When I first took it, I spit it out, and Madame Pomfrey said, what did you expect, pumpkin juice? Which, by the way, is a sweet drink that is served at meals at Hogwarts. It's equivalent to your local sodas. Guy nodded and said, I see. Well, I am to train until my youthful student is healed. I will be back in 1 week's time. With that, he turned and ran out of the hospital in a cloud of dust. Harry and Tsunade laughed at his actions before going their separate ways. A week later, RRY met up with Tsunade and Guy in Rock Lee's hospital room. To Guy's and Tsunade's surprise, Rock Lee was standing up and stretching like he wasn't even injured. How do you feel, Lee? Asked Guy. I feel excellent, Guy-sensei. It's like I was never even injured in the first place, said Lee. Tsunade stepped forward and said, do you mind if I check you over before you go? Lee shook his head, allowing Tsunade to check on his arm and leg. When she was done, she spoke. I declare you fully healed. You may leave whenever you want. Before Rock Lee and Guy could say anything, Harry pulled out his wand and cast a basic diagnosis charm. When he saw the result, he gasped and said, so that's the problem. Listen, Lee, I understand you are unable to mold chakra. At his nod, Harry continued, I know the reason for it, and if you want, I can fix it for you. It will take me only a few minutes and you will be able to use jutsu just like everyone else. However, this is your decision to make. I will not pressure you into it. I know of your dream to become a great shinobi without the use of ninjutsu and genjutsu, and so far you're doing a great job on that front. Rock Lee thought for a moment before saying, I think for now I will stay the way I am. If I ever decide to change my mind, you will be the first person I tell. Harry nodded and allowed Lee and Guy to go about their business. He then bid goodbye to Tsunade and went to find Naruto. 3 days later, Harry was called into the Hokage's office. When he got there, he found Naruto, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Reina, Minato, Sirius, and Jiraiya there as well. Oh good, you're finally here. I have an announcement to make. I have received word from Sirius Black that Hogwarts is hosting a competition called the Tri-Wizard Tournament this year. I want Harry, Naruto, and Sasuke to put your names in for the tournament. If you are chosen, you are to use all your skills to win. The prize money is 1,000 galleons, which converts to 3,000 ryo. The money will be used to help repair damages to the village after the invasion. Shikamaru, Reina, Minato, Sirius, and Jiraiya, your job is to help protect the school over the course of the year. I understand that most, if not all of you, are leaving tomorrow for England to attend a sporting event. When you leave, you will be gone until Hogwarts gets out for the summer. While you are in England, you will refer to Harry or Sirius, who will be in charge since they know the area. Dismissed. Everyone nodded and left the office. The end. Remember to subscribe. See you in the next video.